millionaire is shocked when he discovers the black waitress in a childhood photo at his house. Nathan Hartley stood frozen in the grand hallway of his childhood home, the air heavy with dust and memories. Each corner echoed with the murmurs of a life spent in luxury. Yet today a strange disquiet settled in his chest. As he dusted off an old shelf, his finger caught a faded photograph. At first glance, it seemed trivial. A young black waitress, her bright smile dimmed by years of neglect. But beneath the layers of dust, something profound stirred within him. This wasn't just any picture. It was a snapshot, a ghost from the past, and she looked eerily familiar. His breath hitched. Evelyn. He remembered her, the girl from the cafe at the end of the street, his favorite cafe. The sounds of clinking cups and chatter came flooding back, mixed with the warmth of her laugh. But why was she here, in his home? He flinched, heart racing as memories collided. What had once felt so innocent now felt heavy, laden with questions he didn't know how to ask. He peered closer at the photo, the colors muddled yet vibrant in their aging. Her eyes sparkled, a depth of kindness and unspoken stories. The corners of her mouth turned upwards in a genuine smile. A pang shot through Nathan's heart, twisting uncomfortably, as if he was awakening from a long slumber, suddenly aware of the privilege that had always surrounded him. He was wealthy, yes, but was that truly enough? This photograph unraveled a connection he had never realized, an unseen thread binding their lives, although worlds apart. He quickened his breath, memories rushing in like the tide. His childhood was an unbending path, laid by wealth and status, yet standing here now, in the shadows of his opulence. Nathan felt an unshakable emptiness. The grandeur no longer thrilled him. It felt hollow, like an abandoned house, echoing with silence. He had everything: houses, cars, power, but no real connection, no true happiness. As he flipped the photograph over, Nathan's heart pounded loud em os olhos. Something escrito pintado: Evelyn, café belle, bom dia. Quem era? O que vida tinha passado? As perguntas inviabilizava. Ele resolveu-se a encontrá-la, a encarar as camadas de seu passado, entender as intricadas, mister, uma companheira de rico e uma mercadeira. O que segredos linguava nos espaços entre. Sentia-se como estar numa nébula, incerto, mas vivo. Adrenalina do rótulo, morena bem encontrada. Mas, de mesmo quando a determinação surgia, o mundo fora da sua bolha fazia cruéis bestas. O que será que lhe dará a verdade a reabrir o graço ou abrir a feridas? Best left untouched? Nathan shuddered, holding the photograph tightly. The blurred lines of their destinies danced before him, an unfinished story just waiting to be told. Hey, before I continue with this amazing story, I have to give you an important warning. Many subscribers have reported that YouTube has deleted their subscriptions without warning. Take a quick look at the red button below to make sure you are still subscribed to the channel. I don't want you to miss any exclusive content. And while you're there, leave that mighty like that helps me a lot with the algorithm. Oh, and tell me in the comments, what city are you watching from? I love getting to know all the amazing people who are part of this community. Your participation makes all the difference. Let's interact. Nathan clutched the photograph tightly, heart pounding like a war drum. He felt adrenaline coursing through him. Evelyn. What had he missed? He couldn't shake the feeling that her life was a tapestry woven into his own. Each thread a path he hadn't followed. He rushed out of the house, determination coursing through his veins. He had to find her. He drove through the bustling streets, weaving past shops and cafes, Memories of Evelyn's laughter echoing in his mind. The cafe bell. He needed to start there. The sun hung low in the sky, casting long shadows as he pulled up. The familiar red awning beckoned him, a beacon from the past. The cafe was small but warm, filled with the scent of fresh pastries and the sound of quiet chatter. He stepped inside, the bell above the door jingling softly. His presence turned heads, patrons glanced up, curiosity flaring. Someone like him in a place like this. "Nathan," cried a voice from behind the counter, interrupting his thoughts. It was Claire, the owner. A woman com sorriso e cara que arrecabava todos bem-vindo. Claire se acalma. Sorriso de uma orelha. Faltered for just a moment. A flicker of something crossed her face. Concern? Fear? Evelyn, she doesn't come around much anymore. A pause. You should sit. Nathan felt a tightness in his chest. Why? What happened? Claire leaned closer, her voice dropping to a hush, the cafe noises fading into the background. She had to leave town. Something happened. Something happened, he echoed, dread pooling in his stomach. Claire glanced around, then lowered her voice. Nathan, there are things you don't know. Evelyn faced a lot. With her family, especially her mother. Her mother? Nathan interrupted, confusion flaring. What do you mean? Claire bit her lip, hesitation dancing in her eyes. I can't say much. Just that Evelyn had secrets. It wasn't just her job, there were rumors, legal troubles. You should be careful looking for her. A chill settled over him. This wasn't just a search for an old friend. It felt like opening a door to a basement full of shadows. Claire, I need to find her. I have to understand. But just then the cafe door swung open, a gust of wind causing papers to flutter. In walked a tall man, dressed sharply, eyes scanning the room. Nathan felt an instinctive unease. There was something in his stride, the way he carried himself. Powerful, predatory. Claire, the man called, his voice booming. You've seen her, haven't you? Nathan's heart raced. Who was this man? The atmosphere shifted, tension curling in the air. All eyes turned to the new arrival. He approached the counter. Evelyn is missing, he said, voice raw, and I need her. What do you want with her? Nathan could barely hold back the words. The man's gaze flicked to Nathan, amusement flickering behind his eyes. You don't know, do you? She's not just a waitress. She belongs to another world, one you'll never understand. The air grew colder as shock washed over Nathan. A world he couldn't comprehend. He felt the walls close in, memories of laughter and light, now twisted, tangled in darkness. Evelyn's life, the man continued, his voice low, is more entangled with yours than you can imagine. You have no idea how deep this goes. Time stood still. The coffee shop seemed to blur, reality bending around him. Secrets, shadows, a connection he never knew existed. Suddenly, he wasn't just searching for a girl from the past. He was standing on the brink of a revelation that could unravel everything he thought he knew. Nathan's hands trembled as he stared at the man, his heart thumping wildly. What truths lay hidden? Before he could respond, an unexpected silence enveloped the cafe. Claire's eyes widened, her expression a mixture of fear and urgency. Get out, she shouted suddenly. He mustn't find you. Pânico sente Nathan's instinto subindo, e as copinhas de café raladas na barraca. O homem sorria. A tensão cruxava por peso. Nesse instante, Nathan sabia. Esse era apenas o começo, e o caminho para aquele era mais escuro do que nunca pensei. Nathan's heart sorria no seu peito. O olhar convenceu, mandou remédios para baixo. Claire, supercute, Nathan, levou revelado para a realidade, desencanando-se com remorsos. Tinha sentido o peso de todos os olhos na café. Olha, o silêncio se estreita, como porraço elástico, pronto para se esplaçar. E ela apontou. Toward the back door. Now, he didn't need to be told twice. He bolted toward the door, adrenaline propelling him forward. In one swift motion, he swung it open and stumbled outside. Fresh air filled his lungs, but it felt heavy with dread. He glanced over his shoulder. The man had followed him, not far behind, an ominous shadow within the dim cafe light. Nathan ducked around the corner. Café. Ele puxou, com medo. Estava correndo a ele. Não podia fazer isso. Ele observou Claren entrar na porta. Pensacou ele em cima da redação. Algo glinta em ele a cama. O braço na perna. Paralisia sinistra. Depois as palavras paralisia responderam. Café. Ele torne fedido por letreiro, por tarjeta. E Nathan! It's a mistake. Get out. He's not who you think he is. Ela menteu com um fogo de pânico. Nathan podia apenas olhar, suas mãos tremendo incontroláveis. O que quis dizer? Suddenly the man pulled Claire up, forcing her against the counter. You talk too much, he hissed, his voice low and lethal. A rush of anger ignited within Nathan. No, he had to do something. He took a step forward, balling his fists. But before he could act, a figure appeared at the edge of his vision. Evelyn. She stepped into the cafe, face pale but defiantly set. Stop! She yelled, her voice slicing through the chaos. Let her go. Everything ground to a halt. The man turned, surpresa fligindo across perfeitos. Evelyn, respondeu, algo perigosamente suave no tom. I would have known you'd be here. What was she doing here? Nathan. Heart raced as disbelief washed over him. What did Evelyn have to do with this man? And why didn't she seem afraid? Stay back, Claire shouted, her voice laced with panic. He's dangerous. But Evelyn held her ground, eyes fierce. You don't understand. This is all a part of it. A part of what? Nathan yelled, confusion swirling in him. Just then the man smirked, something dark in his demeanor. It's about time. The truth is finally coming out. He pulled Evelyn toward him, but she jerked free, spinning to face Nathan. Nathan, listen. I wasn't just a waitress. I found something. Something that connects us all. And it's bigger than you can imagine. Before she could finish, a crash echo from within, chateando a tensão como gases. Depois tudo erupteu no caos. A porta do café virou abertamente e em seguida grupo de homens, todos vestidos de casa preta, entraram feridos com o seu nome. Naquele instante, tudo mudou. O homem estrangulando, mas foi sobrevencido por uma força inesperada. Os olhos da Evelyn flicavam dela, pensamento de algo inesmarável, medo, conhecimento, desesperança. Que está passando? Nathan gaspou. Mente rápida. Evelyn abriu a boca, mas nenhuma palavra veio. Era como se o mundo inteiro tinha mudado o pender deles. Nathan trambolhou o coração, pendendo em desconfiança. O que acontecia? Subitamente as camadas cuidadosamente escondidas of their lives were laid bare, and he could only stand and stare as the truth loomed dark and tangled, ready to consume them all. Nathan stumbled back, his mind racing in disbelief. Everything felt surreal, tangled in a web of panic and confusion. Evelyn stood there, defiant amidst the chaos, her eyes flashing with both anger and determination. The men in black coats forced the towering man toward the entrance, but Evelyn remained rooted, an intense energy radiating from her. You don't understand what he wants, she shouted, voice trembling yet strong. What do you mean, Evelyn? Nathan called out, desperation creeping into his tone. What's going on? Claire struggled on the floor, groaning. As she clutched her arm, the cafe was silent, the air thick with tension. All eyes were transfixed on the unfolding scene. The man glared at Evelyn, his sneer twisting into a dangerous grin. "You have no idea what you're involved in, do you?" With a sudden movement, he broke free from the men's grip, lunging toward her. Time slowed as Nathan's heart plummeted. "Evelyn, watch out," he yelled, but she didn't flinch. Instead, a flash of light caught Nathan's eye. A small metal object slipped from Evelyn's jacket, hitting the floor with a clatter. A strange device, shimmering with unknown energy. The cafe erupted in gasps as everyone took a step back, fear washing over the room like a tidal wave. "What is that?" someone whispered, uncertainty painting each face. Evelyn sighed, a weight lifting as she stood confidently. The truth. Before anyone could comprehend, the man lunged as the device pulsed. Light enveloped the room, blinding in its brilliance. Nathan shielded his eyes, panic surging through him. When the light dimmed, he staggered back, breath hitching in disbelief. Evelyn was transformed, no longer the waitress he remembered. Her features sharpened, eyes brightening with a haunting brilliance. "You were meant to find me, Nathan," she declared, voice echoing with authority. "What?" Nathan's throat felt tight. This wasn't the girl he knew. "What happened to you?" The man's anger boiled, but fear gripped him now. "You shouldn't have come back," he spat. "You don't control this." Evelyn held her ground, an aura of power surrounding her. "You lost that control long ago." Suddenly, a rumbling sound echoed outside, like thunder rolling in. Nathan rushed to the window, staring in horror. The sky darkened, twisting, swirling ominously, like a storm preparing to unleash its fury. The cafe trembled. "What is happening?" Claire cried, struggling to rise. Evelyn glanced back, urgency in her gaze. "We're running out of time. The truth I found, it connects us in ways we don't yet understand. But I need to explain." Before she could continue, an ear-splitting rumble cracked through the air. The floor shook violently, chairs clattering, shouts erupting. Nathan moved instinctively, grabbing Evelyn's arm. "We have to go." But the man lunged again, this time reaching for the device. In a split second, there was a violent clash. The cafe burst into chaos. With a scream, Claire was knocked backward, falling as the glass front shattered. The wind howled, debris swirling inside. Evelyn's voice rose above the storm. "You don't know who I am, Nathan." "Then tell me!" He grabbed her. Desesperação fugindo seus sentidos. Queria compreender esse twist terrorífico. Ali, outra luz iluminou. E Nathan sentiu-se. Nesse momento, a realidade se espelhou. O seu or e se tendeu de solta como paper. Fear crashed over him as he shouted into the chaos. "Evelyn!" Before him, the once familiar faces distorted into shadows, and everything he thought he knew shattered, the connection unraveling, threading through dark revelations. Nathan was left breathless, clinging to the last strands of familiarity as he vanished into the great unknown, the echoes of chaos spinning around him. What awaited him on the other side? The truth or another deception? The questions loomed dark and heavy, begging for answers as he braced for impact. Nathan felt the pull, a dizzying rush that swept him away from the cafe and into a void of light. It felt like being dropped from a height, the air thick with disbelief and fear. Then just as suddenly the light faded, he found himself standing in a vast empty landscape, a surreal land stretching endlessly in all directions. The dark sky overhead swirled with colors that shouldn't exist. Deep purples and fiery oranges mixing as if they were fighting to break free. The ground was smooth and white, almost cloud-like beneath his feet. For a second, he remained frozen. Where was Evelyn? Panic seized him. "Evelyn!"
he shouted.
The word echoing into the void. No answer. Was she even here? He turned in frantic circles, heart racing. Shadows flickered at the edges of his vision, tugging at his awareness. The cafe's chaos felt like a dream. But he wasn't alone. A silhouette emerged from the swirling mist. He squinted, struggling to see through the fog. It resolved into a figure, standing still as stone. Nathan's chest tightened as the shadow took shape. There stood Evelyn. But it wasn't the same girl who had faced that monster. This version of her seemed older, eyes deeper, filled with something he couldn't quite place. "Evelyn," he cried out, relief washing over him like a tide. She smiled, but it was sad. Like she knew something he didn't. "Nathan, you need to listen." Her voice was steady and calm, but urgency pulsed beneath her tone. "What happened back there? What is this place?" Nathan asked. Desesperação cloa nos suas tedas. Esse é o eco. E ele sentia cheiro percorrendo para ele. Espaço entre realidades, onde secretos caem para a luz. Está aqui, e é mais poderoso do que você imagina. O que você quer dizer? A resposta foi súpula. Não, é muito precoce. Algo acontece. Mas era tarde. A craque derrubou-se no sol, e alto bateu uma luz brilhante. Uma figura bondente exportou um invisual. Era o homem do café. Mas alguma coisa estava errada. O rosto bosta de raiva e de uma infinidade familiar.
"Evelyn," he bellowed, voice cracking like thunder. "You think you can escape?" Nathan felt a jolt of recognition. The man looked like him? No, that couldn't be. What the hell is going on? Evelyn's expression shifted, urgency replaced by something akin to pity. "He isn't who you think he is. He's a projection of your fears, twisted in this place." "What?" Chaos spun in his mind, confusion layered with disbelief. "Your secrets and desires, they brought him forth." "Everything you hide from yourself?" The man lunged, his form blurring, morphing into shadows that flickered like flames. "You can't run from the truth, Nathan. You're one of us," he sneered, voice dripping with venom. "Us?" Nathan's estômago churnar. "O que você tá falando?" Evelyn face. Hoje em dia tanta carinha de conforto. Está a crise ascendente de mais algo. A verdade não é só um milionário. A sua vida está construída sobre a fundação de mentiras. A sua família, o seu legado, é tudo uma fagata. Deus. O que você está falando? E aí, o campo começou a tremer, voltando para revelar um abismo de suave e toda a escuridão. Belle se estender, com vísperos enchendo o ar. Seus segredos, medos e ressentimentos, todos pelo selo. Firme. Tenham que confrontar isso juntos. Ele piscou forte, lutando para processar a tempestade de revelações. Então, se ele faz parte de mim, o que eu faço? Ela se inclinou, penetrando em sua confusão. Você precisa escolher, Nathan. Abrace a verdade ou será consumido por ela. Você não pode escapar de quem você é. Antes que ele pudesse responder, as sombras os envolveram, puxando-o para baixo, arrastando-o para as profundezas da incerteza. O que havia do outro lado? Redenção ou desespero? De repente, nada parecia certo. Tudo o que ele conhecia começou a se desenrolar, e ele ficou à beira do caos absoluto, a escolha pairando fora de alcance, esperando para remodelar tudo o que ele acreditava. As sombras o puxavam. A desperado gripe, que fentia bem familiar e cara. Nathan ficou sentado, sentindo a mão dele sair da água. Como homens surgindo para eles, suas sombras ia paterrando como fumaça. Tempo aviada, realidade tosta, o chão da barra dele, e Nathan sentiu a verdade voltando para frente. Então, tudo mudou. Um flash gritante, empurrando a luz branca, em que a luz recebeu silêncio. Nathan estava sozinho, sozinho em um void. "Evelyn", ele gritou. Voz ecoando no escuridão. O pânico chutou para ele, sharpo e cessa,
Ele se sentiu derrubado com respiração. Houve trêmulo aberto para ele, rentoso e insistente, e parece paz e todo mundo.
In his chest like a weight, paralyzing him. Then came another crash, like thunder echoing from far away. But it grew louder, rumbling, shaking the very fabric of this surreal landscape. Out of the darkness, a figure emerged, a woman, tall and shrouded in black. As she stepped into the swirling mist, he barely drew a breath. It was his mother. But not just any version. This was the mother he remembered from childhood, stern, sharp, eyes glinting with something he couldn't quite place. What? How? Nathan's thoughts scattered like leaves in a storm.
You can't be here. She smiled, a cold, cunning smile that sent a shiver down his spine.
Oh, but I am, Nathan. You were never meant to forget. Her voice was low, rich with a mixture of sympathy and malice. Suddenly, memories thudded against his mind like fists. Her sharp words, the bitter standoff and their last family dinner. The lies cloaked in love. You lied to me about everything, he said, voice trembling. About who I am. That's the point, my dear. You're not just a Hartley. You were chosen for something greater, she replied, hauntingly calm. Chosen? He spluttered, anger boiling over. Chosen for what? Before she could answer, another flash burst through the shadows, illuminating a truth he wasn't ready to accept. The man from the cafe appeared beside her, smirking, all familiar, yet profoundly foreign. Da conexão clicked, ele era espelho. A reflexão dos seus pesadelos. Eles estavam guardando segredos, mas a tua casa não foi só tranquila. Lais a parte do fundamento que tua vida está buildida. Significa mais grande do que dinheiro. Que desentende? O teu sangue atado a uma doi. Dedicaram olhos para ter resíduo. The fabric of time itself, she continued, her tone chillingly matter-of-fact. And you, my son, were meant to inherit it. A wave of nausea rolled through him. No, it can't be true. But as the truth sank deeper, clarity sparked like fire across his veins. He staggered back, grappling with the knowledge. A secret legacy, hearts tainted, choices manipulated. I don't want any part of this, he croaked, the world distorting yet again. But before he could turn away, it happened. Silence broke into pure chaos. Light exploded outward, a fierce shockwave that threw Nathan to the ground, sending shards of memories slicing through the air. Suddenly, among the crashing sounds of reality fracturing, he felt the familiar warmth of Evelyn's hand find his again. Stay close, she shouted, determination blazing in her eyes. Nathan looked up, finding her at his side, alive yet somehow different, beckoning him to face this twisted family secret. You're not just a witness, Nathan. You have to face this together, or it'll consume us. A deep rumble echoed in response to their unity. The ground kept shaking, and Nathan knew everything would change now. But what lay ahead? All the ties to his past threatened to unravel, pulling him toward an uncertain future. What would he discover as the truth turned him inside out? The shadows closed in, leaving him standing on the brink of chaos, heart racing, and the path forward unclear. Evelyn gripped Nathan's hand tighter, her eyes fierce with determination. We have to confront this together, or it'll consume us. Together, he echoed, feeling the heat of her spirit mixing with his own anxiety. They stood back to back, ready to face the darkness closing in on them. But as the shadows twisted and writhed around them, a feeling of dread washed over him. Then, just as he focused on the shadowy figure lunging toward them, everything shattered. The ground split open with a deafening roar, and a rift appeared beneath their feet. a spiraling vortex of light and dark. Suddenly, a voice boomed.
Frombodeptus, rico e terrificante. Enafe, ele arregava em todos os cantos do vidro. Nathan, se mostrando vindo, como uma figura, emergia da brecha.
Itz era uma mulher, fazendo seu corpo fluir como fumaça, e os olhos grintando uma luz plasteira.
Mãe, ele brigava. Então ela sorriu, com a carinho mais tranquila neles. Não, Nathan, você não me conhece, mas você é parte de algo muito maior. São que tem sido relatado. Você como entende? Depois de por causa de confusão, a presença ficou pesada com segredos. Your linhagem, Nathan, ele disse. Slowly, her voice resonating like a chant. You descend from a line of guardians, keepers of a force that binds time and reality. Breath caught in his throat, fear curling in his stomach. Guardians? But I don't understand. Why me? Because you've been chosen to repair what's broken. The darkness is rising as we speak. Your mother, she's been protecting you, keeping you safe from the truth. What truth? It's time to wake up. The man you thought was a reflection of your fears, he's your twin counterpart. You both hold pieces of a fractured legacy. If you give in to the fear, if you allow him to control you, it could mean the end of your realidade. O grão quadrou mais uma vez e Nathan sentiu o pânico. Não, não pode ser algo. Agora você vai atrás de você. Do lado dela, a mão chateou, grampando o Nathan rosto. Um choque elétrico surgiu tremendo rápido. Imagens explodiam na sua mente, concertos, risos, viúvas de um mundo que não reconhecia. Depois, gritos eruptaram. Ele virou, o coração ressava em agonia. Não, Evelyn. As palavras tora abaixo dele. Oh, de desesperação. O homem estava ainda nas sombras. Viu com crueldade. Você perderá ela também, de longe prazida. Ele bateu a mirada de Evelyn. But the shadows tightened around him, pulling him back. The echoes of his mother's words rang in his ears. Choose. Evelyn, fight back. He screamed, the panic seeping into his veins. In that moment, she looked up, her eyes lighting with fierce intensity. I know who I am, she declared, the voice of a warrior rising up through the storm. But just then the shadows exploded in a swirl of darkness. Lightning cracked through the air, and Nathan shielded his eyes. In the chaos, he heard an unexpected hissing sound. Like a rush of wind, the woman's form began to flicker, shimmering in and out of existence. What's happening? He gasped, sweat trickling down his back. The truth is sei mais depo do que você tem. Bem do caos. Ela se transformou, revelando o caos e o oposto dela. Então, nada pode. Ela vaniu, deixando só ecos do seu lágrima marcantes. O universo deles perpassava, têngigo com o peso da incredibilidade incrível. O que acabou de acontecer? Nathan perguntava com uma mão pesada. Evelyn estava firme, uma sombra de incerteza cuja bem-amada alma é foda. Vemos o quem realmente somos. Descobrir sentiu o mundo um passo atrás. Não há uma ponte boa. Now. The real battle was about to begin. Evelyn gripped Nathan's hand tighter, her resolve like a lifeline in the murky chaos swirling around them. He could feel her heart racing, mirroring his own frantic pulse. We have to confront this together, or it'll consume us, she urged, urgency brightening her gaze. Together, he echoed, his voice steady despite the storm brewing outside. But just as he steadied himself, the ground beneath them began to tremble violently. The darkness closed in, shadows curling like tendrils. Suddenly, the rift exploded open. A blinding light erupted, consuming everything. Nathan shielded his eyes, panic clawing at his chest. What is happening? He shouted. but his voice was swallowed by the roar of light. When the brightness faded, they found themselves in a different place, lush, vibrant, almost surreal. Sunlight streamed down, illuminating their surroundings. Trees swayed gently, the air smelling sweet, like freshly bloomed flowers. It felt peaceful, yet Nathan's heart raced with dread. "What is this?" he whispered, bewildered. Where was the chaos? Where was the looming shadow? Evelyn frowned, scanning the area. "This isn't what I expected," she murmured. The magic in the air felt heavy, thick with unspoken truths. But before Nathan could voice his doubts, the familiar figure of the woman appeared, this time radiating pure light. A warmth washed over him, stronger than before. "You've made it," she
Smiled, and it felt like sunshine breaking through a cold morning.
"Who are you?" Nathan demanded, urgency bubbling inside him.
"We don't have time for games." She waved her hand gently. "I understand. You need answers. But you're not ready for everything. Not yet."
"Stop hiding!" Nathan shouted, frustration boiling over.
"Just tell us what's going on." "I wish I could. But the revelations are too much." The woman's voice trembled, the light flickering around her. "You need to understand the balance. A balance between light and dark. Only then can you face the truth." Then, as she spoke those words, the ground beneath them cracked again, with a deafening roar. This time, Nathan didn't hesitate. He grabbed Evelyn and ducked, shielding her as the earth opened wide. "That voice," he shouted over the chaos, "it's calling." But just then, something unusual happened. The shadowy figure of the man cut through the light, stepping into their midst, a sickening smile carved onto his face. He was different now, no longer just a reflection of Nathan's fears. He was solid, vibrating with energy. "You think you can escape?" he hissed, pointing a finger. "You have no idea what you're getting into." Nathan could barely stand against the force of the man's presence. "What do you want?" But then came the twist. A flash of truth cut through the air. The man stopped and began to shimmer, the familiar features transforming into Nathan's own face, identical in every way. "No," Nathan's breath hitched, recognition crashing over him like a wave. "What is this?" "It's not your fear, Nathan. The choice is buried in shadows." "No!" Nathan cried. Yet as he looked into the man's piercing eyes, he felt the ground slipping. Every secret he hid, every regret he suppressed, surfaced in a terrifying flood. "What does this mean?" he gasped, the weight of sudden clarity crushing in on him. "What do I have to face?" Evelyn's hand tightened around his. "We need to get out. We have to." But before she could finish, the rift pulsed, sucking them into a whirlpool of light. Nathan sentiu o mundo girando, seu coração acelerado mais do que nunca. O que os aguardava agora? As sombras sussurravam promessas e ameaças, memórias girando, arranhando sua mente. Clareza ou desespero? As the light engulfed him and then faded, Nathan could only wonder, where were they headed? What devastating truths were still waiting to be uncovered? The light faded, and Nathan blinked hard, trying to make sense of their new surroundings. The vibrant colors swirled around him, but panic struck again as shadows crept closer. The man's distorted face morphed into a smirk, echoing the darkness that threatened to engulf them. "Nathan," Evelyn's voice broke through the haze. "We need to hold on. Don't let him." The shadows squeezed tighter, each one charged with a malevolent energy. Nathan felt his heart pounding in his chest, a frantic beat that matched the chaos around them. His mind raced to comprehend this new reality, the truths unfolding like twisted vines. But before he could process anything further, a loud crack echoed across the ethereal landscape. The man pointed, and suddenly, a fissure ripped open in the ground, like a jagged mouth hungry for them. "Fate is upon you," he bellowed, thrill-laced. "This be happening because of my family,
Just as he finished that thought, the light coalesced, transforming into a figure. Nathan squinted through the glare, trying to see clearly. Then, realization crashed upon him like a wave. No, it can't be. Before him stood a woman, regal and fierce. It was his mother, but not the one he had known. This version was empowered, imbued with a force so familiar, yet unsettling. Her eyes bored into him. "I've been waiting for you, Nathan," she said. Her voice smooth like silk, but edged with a tension that sent chills down his spine. "What are you doing here? You shouldn't be part of this." Nathan's throat tightened, words pinching together like a vice. Evelyn gasped beside him, the recognition dawning on her. "Your mother, she's not just a mother. Not just a mother?" Nathan felt the ground beneath him shift again, a deep rumble echoing as shadows began to swirl around them, reeling and pulling tighter. "What do you mean?" "Your family's legacy is tied to the darkness," she explained, her features cold and unyielding. "I didn't protect you from it. I was part of it. All of it." The shadows danced lively, consuming every word, the reality of her confession clawing at his heart. "No, you were trying to keep me safe. I never knew." "Safe from what?" she shot back, anger flashing in her eyes. "You think ignorance is protection? No. You needed to understand that power comes with a price." As she spoke, Nathan felt the air thicken. A faint whisper brushed against his ear, a truth woven into every stitch of their conversation. "Your father," she said slowly, "was not who you believed him to be. He was part of the Shadow Council." The world spun around him as the revelation sunk in. "How could you? You lied to me." The reality twisted painfully in his gut. Chaos reigned in every corner of his heart. "Not a lie, an inheritance," she replied, an unsettling calm enveloping her. Evelyn stepped closer, anguish contorting. "Ela sois, Nathan, we can't let this define us. We can break this cycle. The truth doesn't have to chain us." But the man's laughter interrupted them, booming and dissonant. "You think you can escape your fate? No. You've just set in motion a far deeper darkness." As the shadows lurched closer, the ground beneath Nathan cracked wider. "What do you mean?" he shouted over the roar. What else could happen? In that agonizing moment, he realized silence wasn't just looming. It crushed in on them suddenly, holding his breath captive. "Prepare to face your inheritance," the man hissed, his identity blurring, reshaping in the midst of shadows, revealing fragmented pieces of Nathan's past. In that shock, Nathan felt the ground heave violently, dragging him farther down. He could only wonder, was this the beginning of something dreadful, or was there a chance to rise above it all? The uncertainty loomed like a wall between him and the truth, forcing him back against his family's dark legacy. The weight of their ties bared down. Would they crush him, or would he emerge bathed in newfound light? The chaos closed in, shadows swirling menacingly, while the familiar figures of Nathan's mother and the man loomed like dark clouds. Nathan's heart pounded against his ribcage. Fear sent ice through his veins. "You're lying," he shouted, desperation spilling from him. "I won't let." "You control me." Evelyn stood strong beside him, her presence like a warm ember in an icy storm. "We can figure this out, Nathan, together. Focus on the truth." She looked at him, eyes fierce and bright, and he felt a rush of hope. "You think you can escape your fate?" The man's sneer twisted as if he was made of smoke. Shadows reached for them like ghostly hands, but Nathan felt his feet anchor him. The more they grasped, the sturdier his resolve became. "Face your reality," his mother interjected, the darkness swirling around her like a heavy blanket. "You need to accept who you are. Your past." "No," Nathan shouted, casting a
Glaça de Evelyn. Eu não sou parte dessa legendas oscura. E naquele momento, ele sentiu algo cair dentro dele, mais forte de energia derramada pelos seus lembos. Calor inundou a costa dele, e ele admirou Lênia. Ele gritou com a mão mais pesada, como se sentia a unidade dele. O mano se pesava. As chaves se curvavam, como a tempeste batide nele. Mas quando estavam juntos, luz eruptou no aro. Nathan encheu os olhos firmes. O mundo se transformava ao redor deles. Quando ele abriu olhos, estavam suspensos. Luminescem, espaço, adorna em espiral, findo a claridade, que Evelyn estava próximo de Lui, forte e inesitável. Ao redor deles, o grito começou a cicatrizar, fazendo-se juntar o tecido de tempo perdido. Vocês ainda estão conduzindo um passo alegre. Derrota nas as demais tempos cedendo. Estude-me quite passe da realidade. Juntos, sombreados umbras. Bem que significa isto para nós agora? Sim, ele prontamente. Depois Evelyn, com um sorriso em árida, levantou o peso do coração. Significa-nos um futuro, uma possibilidade de escrever a nossa história. Mas aí sentiu. O suspiro das sombras remanesceu. Viagos. Deprimir o bloco. Descem, sentiu. Irresponsavelmente. Então, vamos fazê-lo. As they stepped forward, Nathan sentia-se. A transformação da sua legado destinável era inversão. A tapestry woven from both light e darko, não uma reflexão do passado. E com isso, ele virou para o horizonte. Uma sensação de esperança ignada no peito. O que fazemos? Evelyn sorriu, um glinto nos olhos. Explorarmos. Viver. Um vento soprou ao redor deles, levando cheiros de emoção e medo. Tudo estava pela frente, caminhos descobertos seus passos. Nathan pendava e gaguejando algum sentido. Novas aventuras. Novas coisas, Evelyn respondeu. Um futuro que criamos juntos. E compassaram em mão em busca do desconhecido. O mistério encheu o ar, trazendo-se atrás um mapa incomparável. Ali. Was no telling what lay ahead, but it felt like the beginning of something beautiful. Before you go, listen up. You need to subscribe now so you don't miss the next exclusive stories that are coming your way. Hit that like button now to show your support and help feed the algorithm. Flood the comments section with your thoughts, reactions, and theories about this finale. What did you think? Did you enjoy it? And please, don't wait 1 second longer. Share this video with at least 5 friends who need to know about this epic ending. Only true fans understand the importance of supporting the channel with these actions. Your engagement truly makes a difference.